Good morning. Today we'll be discussing about vestibular apparatus. As I have already told you that internal ear in the membranous labyrinth is present in the internal ear and it consists of two parts, cochlea and vestibular apparatus. Cochlea is mainly concerned with hearing and that topic we have already completed. Today we'll start with vestibular apparatus. Vestibular apparatus is the sensory organ which is responsible for maintaining equilibrium, balance and posture. It consists of three parts. It consists of three parts which I have already told you. It consists of three semicircular canals, anterior, posterior and lateral semicircular canal, as well as two chambers, that is utricle and saccule. What are the functions of the vestibular apparatus? Main function of the vestibular apparatus is to maintain equilibrium, balance and posture. Now the utricle and saccule, they are responsible for maintaining static equilibrium, and semicircular canal is responsible for maintaining angular or angular acceleration. Now, through its motor connection, this vestibular apparatus, once it detects the mal-equilibrium, it will send its impulses to the central nervous system for correction of posture. So through its motor connection, it will send the information to various anti-gravity muscles through the descending pathways, that is vestibulospinal tract and vestibulo-reticular tract, to anti-gravity muscles, which will in turn elicit the reflex and maintain the posture and equilibrium. Now, through its connection to the extraocular muscles nuclei, that is abducent, trochlear and oculomotor nuclei, through the medial longitudinal fasciculus, it produces compensatory eye movement with the change in position of the head, which is responsible for maintaining the balance. Now, how does this vestibular apparatus it will function? So there are the receptors, or you can say peripheral receptors, which are present. Peripheral receptors, you can say kinesthetic, proprioceptive. These information, besides that, receptors which are present in the utricle, saccule and semicircular canal, they will detect the change in the position and equilibrium, and they will send signals to the central nervous system where processing of information will take place, and then this central nervous system will in turn send signals to the descending pathway through the various parts of the body to elicit the reflexes which will be responsible for maintaining posture. Now, this picture, it shows the membranous labyrinth, which consists of cochlea and vestibular apparatus. So vestibular apparatus, as I have already told you, it consists of three parts, semicircular canal and two chambers, that is utricle and saccule. So utricle and saccule, you can see that there are two chambers, utricle and saccule, they are connected through the ductus endolymphaticus. So utricle and saccule, they are responsible for static equilibrium, they detect linear acceleration, and they are responsible for maintaining orientation of head with respect to gravity when person is in upright position. So you can see that sensory receptors in the utricle and saccule, they are in red. So macula is the sensory receptors which is present in the utricle and saccule. So function of macula, I have already told you. Now regarding the structure of macula, it lies inside the utricle and saccule. Then macula of the, first we will discuss about the macula of the utricle. Macula of the utricle, it lies in the horizontal plane. As you can see, it lies in the horizontal, plane on the inferior surface of the utricle. Upper one is utricle, and you can see the macula, it lies in the horizontal plane and on the inferior surface of the utricle. Now, this macula, it consists of thousands of hair cells. These are our hair cells, okay, and it is coated by a gel-like covering which contains calcium carbonate crystals, which are known as otoliths, or you can also call them steatoconium. These weight of these calcium carbonate crystal is 3 times more as compared to the surrounding fluids. Okay. Now these hair cells, they are directed in different direction, and bending of head in forward direction, backward direction and sideways will cause stimulation of particular set of hair cells. The stimulation of particular type of hair cells will then send signals through the network of nerve fibers which synapse with the base of the hair cells. This is the network of the vestibular nerve. Okay, so this is the structure of macula. It consists of thousands of hair cells, and these hair cells are directed in different directions and will be stimulated by the bending of head in different directions. Now, surface of the macula is covered by the gelatinous layer which contains calcium carbonate crystals. Now the base of the hair cells, here you can see individual hair cell, base of the hair cells, it synapses with the network of nerve fibers, and this nerve fiber is vestibular nerve. Okay, these will carry signals to the central nervous system regarding the change in position of head. Now the top of the hair, on the top of the hair cells, you can see from the top of the hair cells arise 50 to 70 stereocilia. This structure of the hair cell is similar to that we have studied in the hair cell present in organ of Corti in the cochlea. So on the top you can see from the top of the hair cells arises 50 to 70 stereocilia, and one, they are gradually increasing in the length, and the longest one is known as kinocilium. Tip of the stereocilia, they are connected with the fine filament to each other. Bending of these stereocilia in one direction, that is towards the kinocilium, will result into depolarization, because when the stereocilia, they move in the direction of kinocilium, tipping of the filament will take place, and it causes opening of the positive charge, positive ion channels, and here large amount of sodium ions will move inside the cell, resulting into depolarization. And movement of the stereocilia in the direction opposite to that of the kinocilium will result into hyperpolarization, which we have already discussed previously. So movement in one direction results into hyperpolarization, and in other direction results into depolarization. In resting stage also, these hair cells, they will fire the impulse which is responsible for the basic firing level. Okay. Now the function of the macula is it is responsible for maintaining static equilibrium. It detects linear acceleration, and it is responsible for maintaining the orientation of head with respect to gravity when the person is in upright position or in lying down position. Okay. Now, saccule. Macula of the saccule, it lies in vertical plane, and it is responsible for detecting the orientation of head when person is in lying down position. Now the macula of the utricle is responsible for maintaining the position of the head when person is in upright position. Even a slight degree of mal equilibrium of half a degree of movement will be detected by the macula and it will be transmitted to the central nervous system. Utricle, they are responsible for maintaining the position of the head when a person is standing in a upright position. So when you move your head forward or backward, they will be stimulated when a person says yes. Okay. So when your head moves forward or backward, then the macula of the utricle will be stimulated and they will carry the impulse to the central nervous system, uprising central nervous system that mal-equilibrium in the position of head has occurred. So person will, all the corrective measures will be taken and reflexes will be elicited, as a result of which person will correct the position of the head. Okay. Now the utricle which are present in the saccule, they are responsible for maintaining the orientation of the head when person is lying down. Suppose a person turn his head from one shoulder to another shoulder, then this will be detected by the macula which is present in the saccule. So this information will be carried to the central nervous system and person will correct the orientation of the head and it will be brought to near normal. Now, there are three semicircular canals, anterior, posterior and lateral. At one end, you will see that there is dilatation. One end of the semicircular canal is dilated and it is known as ampulla. And in the ampulla, you can see that there is one red-colored elevated structure that is known as crista ampullaris. This is the receptor which is present in the semicircular canal. This is the diagram of the crista ampullaris. It consists of large number of hair cells and the stereocilia arising from the hair cells, they project into the gelatinous coat which covers the crista ampullaris, and this structure is known as cupula. Okay. Movement of cupula in one direction will cause bending of hair cells in one direction, resulting into depolarization, and bending of cupula in the another direction will result into hyperpolarization. So I think this is clear. Then we'll move to the next slide. Now this is the function of the utricle and saccule, which I have already explained it to you. Utricle is responsible for orientation of head in upright position. When a person says yes, then macula in the utricle will be stimulated. Saccule, it is responsible for orientation of the head when person is lying down. So when the head moves from one shoulder to another shoulder, this movement will be detected by the macula of the saccule. So regarding the macula, I have already explained it to you. Now macula, second function of the macula, I have told you that it is responsible for detecting linear acceleration. When the person suddenly moves forward or accelerates in the linear direction, then what will happen? Statoconia, as the weight of statoconia is more and the specific gravity is more, it will cause bending of hair cells. So bending of hair cells, it will result into depolarization. Okay. And the sensation will be sent to the central nervous system. So when a person suddenly moves in a forward direction, then what happens? The statoconia, they will move hair cells in the backward direction and person will have a feeling that he is falling in a backward direction. So to compensate that, person will lean in a forward direction till that balance occurred. So you must have seen athletes, when the race is going to begin, they are slightly leaning in the forward direction. This is because when a person starts running suddenly, then what will happen? The hair cells, bending of the hair cells will take place because of the weight of the statoconia, and the person will have a feeling that he is falling back. So to prevent this falling back sensation and prevent person from falling back, he will just lean in a forward direction so as to compensate the movement. Okay. So, and once the person starts running, then the leaning forward is because of the air resistance. Now here you can see that this is the normal position, and the person when accelerates in a forward direction or when a person moves suddenly in the forward direction, these tetaconia will cause bending of the hair cells, resulting in the sensation that the person is falling back. Again, this is showing the function. These are the three functions of the macula of the utricle and saccule. Macula, it detects the orientation of head with respect to gravity. Then it detects the linear acceleration, which I have already shown it to you. And third is, it is responsible for static equilibrium. Now, what are the functions of semicircular canal? Semicircular canal, there are three semicircular canals, as I have already told you, and they are responsible for detecting the dynamic equilibrium. Then they are responsible for detecting the orientation of the head during the rotation, that is known as angular acceleration. And besides that, it has got a very important function that is known as predictive function. So all these functions we'll study one by one. So what is predictive function? Predictive function means the semicircular canal, it detects ahead of time that the person is going to fall before the person actually falls. So this is known as predictive function. That is, it will predict ahead of time that mal equilibrium is going to occur, and if corrective measures are not taken, then person will fall. So this is the very important function of semicircular canal. Suppose a person is running in a forward direction and suddenly he begins to turn. So semicircular canal will sense that person is turning, and if corrective measures are not taken, person will fall. So signals will be sent to the central nervous system to elicit various types of reflexes in order to maintain equilibrium. So this is a very important function of the semicircular canal, that is predictive function. Before the mal equilibrium arises, corrective measures will be taken so as to prevent falling. Now, how the semicircular canal, it detects the angular acceleration. So these are the two semicircular canals which are shown in this slide. Okay, so semicircular canal, it moves as the head moves. The semicircular canal, it also moves in the same direction. This semicircular canal is filled with a fluid which is known as endolymph, and it is surrounded by perilymph. So when the head rotates in one direction, semicircular canal, it also rotates in the same direction. But as the inertia of the fluid, that is endolymph, is more, it remains stationary as compared to the semicircular canal. So suppose here it is showing that movement of semicircular canal is towards the left. So when the semicircular canal moves towards the left, you will see that there is relative movement of the fluid in the opposite direction, that is in the right direction. That is a relative movement because semicircular canal is moving in this direction and endolymph, it is not moving because of the presence of inertia. But there would be relative movement and the fluid will move in the opposite direction, and it will cause the movement of cupula in one direction, as a result of which hair cells will be stimulated and they will send signals to the central nervous system through the vestibular nerve. So there would be excitation, or you can say there would be depolarization of the hair cells, resulting into increase in the firing rate and which will be transmitted through the vestibular nerve to central nervous system. Now, hyperpolarization will take place when the semicircular canal moves in opposite direction. When the semicircular canal moves in opposite direction, then what will happen? These fluid movement will also occur in opposite direction, and as a result of which the cupula will move in the opposite direction, resulting into hyperpolarization. So this crista ampullaris will be stimulated at the onset of the movement and at the offset of the movement, where inertia will oppose the movement of the endolymph. If the rotation continues, then the movement of the semicircular canal and fluid which is present, that is endolymph, they occur together, and stimulation of the cupula does not occur, and it comes back to its normal resting stage, as a result of which firing will decrease through the vestibular nerve. So here you can see that this is the ampulla, and in the center there is crista ampullaris with the cupula, and these dotted structure, they will show the deviation towards the right and deviation towards the left with the movement of endolymph in the semicircular canal. Okay. So movement in one direction will cause hyperpolarization, and movement in opposite direction will cause depolarization. And when it is present in the center, because of the elastic recoil, it will come back into its central position, and during resting stage also it will continue to send impulses through the vestibular nerve to central nervous system. Now this is the graph which is showing the recording of the potential. So this is the basic level of discharge which is seen, or it is recorded through the cupula. When head begins to rotate and there is the cupula moves in one direction, resulting into depolarization, you can see that there is increase in the potential, and impulse which are sent through the nerves, they will also increase. When it begins, then after 20 seconds, because of the elastic recoil, cupula will come back to its original position, because now the endolymph will also start moving along with the semicircular canal if the rotation is continued. Okay. So this is again the basal discharge. Then once the rotation stops, then what will happen? Cupula will move in opposite direction, resulting into hyperpolarization. So you can see that impulses which are sent through the vestibular nerve will decrease. Okay. And then after 20 seconds, again it will come back to its normal position. Now, predictive function, it is a very important function of semicircular canal, which I have already explained to you what is predictive function. Semicircular canal, it predicts ahead of time that mal equilibrium is going to occur even before it does occur. So it will send signals to various motor, through its various motor connection, to make appropriate correction in order to prevent the fall. An example, I have already told you that if the person is running and suddenly a person begins to turn, then what will happen? Mal equilibrium can occur and person will fall. So semicircular canal, it will detect that now the person has started turning, and it will send signals to central nervous system. It will apprise central nervous system that the person is turning, appropriate corrections kar lo, otherwise ye aadmi gir jayega. So various reflexes will be elicited and corrections will be made in order to prevent falling of a person. Now, how these signals are transmitted from the semicircular canal? and from the utricle and secule to central nervous system. They are transmitted through the vestibular nerve, and this pathway is known as vestibular pathway. So the fibers which synapse the base of the hair cells, they will carry the signals through the vestibular nerve to vestibular ganglion. From the vestibular ganglion, signals will be transmitted. Some of the fibers, they will carry signals to vestibular nuclei, and some of the fibers will be directed to the cerebellum without passing through the vestibular nuclei. Okay. So from the vestibular ganglion, some of the fibers, they will end into the vestibular nuclei, and some of the fibers will enter into the cerebellum, directly into the cerebellum. From the vestibular nuclei, second order neuron will arise from the vestibular nuclei, and they will in turn send the fibers to various parts of the nervous system. So they will send the fibers to the extraocular nuclei, that is second, third, fourth and sixth cranial nerve nuclei, which is known as vestibulo-ocular tract. So it will form vestibular ocular tract. Some of the fibers from the vestibular nuclei, they will descend and carry signals to spinal cord through vestibulospinal tract. Some of the fibers, they will terminate in the they will terminate in the reticular nuclei, and this pathway is known as vestibulo-reticular pathway. And some of the fibers, they will terminate into the cerebellum through, they form the vestibulocerebellar tract. Okay. So, have you understood that vestibular nerve, first it will reach the vestibular ganglion. From there the nerve fibers will arise. They will terminate in vestibular nuclei, and from the vestibular nuclei, second order neuron will arise, and the fibers will terminate into the extraocular nuclei, that is third, fourth and sixth cranial nerve nuclei, and that pathway is known as vestibulo-ocular tract. They will terminate into spinal cord, and they will form vestibulospinal tract. They will terminate in the reticular nuclei, and they will form vestibulo-reticular tract. They will terminate in the cerebellum through vestibulocerebellar tract. And few of the fibers from the vestibular ganglion, they will go and terminate into the cerebellum directly. Now, what are the functions of all these tracts? Vestibulo-ocular tract is responsible for movements of eyeball in relation to the position of the head. When the position of the head changes, signals will be sent through the medial longitudinal fasciculus, and the movement of the eyeball will occur in relation to the position of the head. Then vestibulospinal tract. What is the function of vestibulospinal tract? It is responsible for reflex movement of head and body during postural changes. Then what is the function of vestibulo-reticular tract? It is responsible for maintaining muscle tone. And what is the function of vestibulocerebellar tract? It is responsible for coordination of movements. Now, this is showing the vestibular pathway and its various connection. The vestibular nerve, it will come and it will terminate in vestibular ganglion. This is vestibular ganglion. From here, fibers will arise which will terminate into the vestibular nuclei. Some of the fibers, they will pass directly to the cerebellum through the inferior cerebellar peduncle, and some of the fibers, after relaying in the vestibular nuclei, they will again pass through the inferior cerebellar peduncle to reach the cerebellum. Okay. Few of the fibers from the vestibular nuclei, they will form a descending pathway, and through the vestibulospinal tract, they will carry signals to the spinal cord. Now, these are the third, fourth, and sixth cranial nerve nuclei. So signals, they pass from the vestibular nuclei through the vestibular ocular tract through these three cranial nerves nuclei. Now some of the fibers, second order neurons which are arising from the vestibular nuclei, they will cross to the opposite side, pass through the thalamus, and they will reach the cerebral cortex in the temporal lobe of the cerebellar cortex, and signals will be transmitted there and further analysis will take place. Now, how the balance is maintained? Balance is maintained through various reflexes which I have already told you, and these reflexes are known as postural reflexes. So what are postural reflexes? Several reflex mechanisms are evoked when the head is moved or neck is bent. Whenever there is change in posture, then certain reflexes will arise as in order to correct the position of the patient and in person, and in order to maintain the equilibrium. There are three types of postural reflexes. One is the vestibular reflexes, second is the tonic neck reflexes, and third are the writing reflexes. In vestibular reflexes, signals are transmitted from the receptors which are present in the vestibular apparatus. Signals are carried to the vestibular nuclei, and from the vestibular nuclei, signals will be transmitted to the spinal cord through vestibular spinal and vestibular reticular tract to the anti-gravity muscles, and as a result of which posture will be maintained. Then tonic neck reflexes, they are also responsible for maintaining the posture, that I will explain it to you. Then writing reflexes, what are the writing reflexes? Writing reflexes means ability of the animal to stand in its normal position with head upright. So when the experimental animals are taken and dissection is made at various levels, then also animal can stand back and keep its head in upright position. That is known as writing reflexes. So in order to study which portion of the central nervous system is responsible for maintaining the equilibrium, posture, and what reflexes are elicited in the different parts of the central nervous system in order to maintain the posture, and how the higher centers, they will influence the functioning of the lower centers, it has been studied. So in order to study which portion of the central nervous system is responsible for eliciting particular type of reflex. So experimental animals were taken like dogs and cats. Initially these experiments were performed by various scientists. Dog and cats were taken, and lesions, or you can say sections, were made at different levels of the central nervous system, and then the functioning of the lower part of the nervous system was studied, that what is their role in maintenance of posture and equilibrium. So animals were taken and sections were made at different levels, and different experimental preparations were made to study the influence of higher centers on the lower part of the nervous system. So what is the vestibular, when this vestibular postural reflexes are elicited, when there is sudden change in the orientation of animal in space, it will elicit a reflex that will help to maintain equilibrium and posture. Now these are various postural reflexes, and different types of postural reflexes are there, and this chart or this table is given in Chatterjee. I will just explain it to you. What does this represent? Okay, so when the experimental animals were taken, so sections were made at different levels. Initially, they've made a section in which cerebrum was, or cerebellar cortex was entirely removed. And this preparation was known as decorticate preparation. Okay. So when entire cerebral cortex was removed, it was found that the animal was able to stand also, and animal was able to walk also. Okay. Then second section was made at the level of superior colliculus and inferior colliculus, and it was found that there was hyperrigidity in all the four limbs. Rigidity was seen in all the four limbs, and this rigidity was known as decerebrate rigidity. And this experiment was carried by a scientist which is known as Sherrington, and this experiment was carried out on the cat, and therefore the typical cat picture I will show it to you, that is known as Sherrington cat. So this table, it shows different type of postural reflexes, what is the center for this reflex, what is the stimulus, and what is the response. Optical writing reflexes, placing reaction and hopping reaction was seen in decorticate animal in whom cerebral cortex was removed. So center is cerebral cortex in all the first three reflexes. Okay. So what is optical writing reflex? In optical writing reflex, in decorticate animal, if the eye was kept open, animal was able to keep its head in position, that is known as writing of head. So stimulus was opening of eyes. When eyes were kept open, animal was able to bring its head back to normal position, upright position. So that is known as writing of head. Then placing reaction. What is placing reaction? In placing reaction, when the decorticate animal or experimental animal is made to stand on all the four limbs, and suddenly one limb was pushed. So what was the response of the animal? Response of the animal was that limb was replaced on the supporting surface in order to support its body. So this is known as placing reaction. Then third is hopping reaction. Again, decorticate animal, and when the animal was standing on the four limbs, and if the animal was suddenly pushed laterally, then what happens? There would be a hopping movement. Hopping movement will take place in order to keep the support of the body. So this reaction was known as hopping reaction. What is labyrinthine writing reflex? In labyrinthine writing reflex, neck writing, body on head writing, body on body, and tonic up to body on body. The section was made at the level of midbrain. So center is midbrain, and various reflexes were studied. What is labyrinthine writing reflex? In labyrinthine writing reflex, animal was held by the body, and animal was tipped from side to side. So what was the response? When the animal was moved from side to side, animal was able to keep his head in normal position. That is known as labyrinthine writing reflex. Now what is neck writing reflex? Neck writing reflex is when the animal is lying on one side, is tilted from one side to another. Then what will happen? Animal will able to write its neck. After writing its neck, the body is on the side. So there would be stretch on the neck, as a result of which stretch receptors in the neck muscles will be stimulated, and they will send signals to the body, as a result of which first there will be writing of the neck, followed by the writing of the shoulder, thorax, and ultimately pelvis. So animal will again come back to its normal position. What is body on head writing reflex? Body on head means when the animal is lying on one side, then the head, again the animal will be able to correct its head in normal position. Pressure on one side of the body will send the signals, as a result of which writing of head will take place. Body on body writing means when the animal is lying on one side, and then you will just apply the pressure on the head and prevent the writing of the head. That means animal will not be able to put its head in the normal position. Then also you can see that animal gets up from its lying down position. That is because of the pressure on one side of the body. When the animal is lying on one side of the body, pressure on that side of the body will be sensed and signal will be sent to the midbrain, as a result of which entire body will come in the standing position. That is known as body on body writing reflexes. What is tonic labyrinthine reflex? The center is in the medulla. Okay. So change in cases of decerebrate animal. Decerebrate animals means all the four limbs are hyper extended, and when you change the position of this decerebrate animal, you will see that there is change in the rigidity of the there will be change in the rigidity, and that is because of the change in the gravity on the otolith organ. So cause of change in rigidity is because of change in action of gravity on this otolith organs, that is statoconia you can say, or otolith organ. I will just show you the diagram. See, this is the decerebrate animal in which all the four limbs are extended, rigidity is seen, and this is seen, there is change in the rigidity of the animal with change in the position, and that is because change in the action of gravity on the otolith organs. So here you can see that when the animal is lying in the supine position, rigidity is maximum in the four limbs. If the animal is turned to one side, then rigidity on that side decreases, and the rigidity is minimum in the prone position. Okay, it is minimum in the prone position, and when you can see all the four limbs are flexed. Okay. Now what is tonic neck reflex? Tonic neck reflex, again, with the change in the position of the head in forward direction, backward direction, side to side, you will see that there is change in the rigidity of the limbs. So when the head is turned in a downward direction, pressure is applied on the head, there would be flexion of all the four limbs and the limbs will be relaxed. When the neck is turned to one side, then there would be extension of the limbs on the same side. Okay. And when the head is turned in upward direction, it is shown in this diagram. See, when the pressure is applied on the neck, then there will be relaxation of all the four limbs. And when the head is moved in upward direction with nose pointing in upward direction, then there would be extension of the forelimbs and flexion of the hind limbs. So this is known as tonic neck reflexes. Change in the rigidity with a change in the position of the head. Now stretch reflex you have already studied. Then magnet reaction or positive supporting reaction. This is seen in spinal animal when the section is done at the level of spinal cord. Then it was seen that if you apply the pressure on the sole or palm of the foot of the animal, then the animal will extend his or her leg along with your finger. So this is known as positive supporting reaction. Just like magnet, as you move your finger in backward direction, the limb of the animal will also move along with it, and that is known as positive supporting reaction or magnetic reaction. This is seen in spinal animal, and this is seen when you apply the pressure on the sole or palm. Now, negative supporting reaction, it is the release of the magnetic reaction, that is known as when you withdraw your hand, then this reaction will be released, rigidity will decrease, and that is known as negative supporting reaction. Now this is Sherrington cat. Rigidity in all, hyperextension rigidity in all the forelimbs. Okay, tail is raised. There would be dorsiflexion at the neck, and head will be raised in upward direction. This is the typical diagram of the Sherrington cat when lesion or section was done at the level in between the superior and inferior colliculi, and this experiment was carried by the scientist known as Sherrington, and this typical posture of the cat is known as Sherrington's cat. Now there are various factors which are concerned with the equilibrium, that is sensations from the neck also play a very important role in maintaining the equilibrium, that is neck proprioceptors, then neck reflexes which are elicited through the vestibular reflexes which are required for maintaining the position. Then body exteroceptors and proprioceptors are also responsible for maintaining equilibrium, and visual information plays a very important role in maintaining the balance. Now, applied aspect, that is motion sickness. All of you must have experienced motion sickness when you are traveling in a train or by road or by ship or by plane. Person starts feeling nauseating, vertigo, vomiting, giddiness, headache is seen. That is because of excessive stimulation of the vestibular apparatus because of uneven movement or speed of the vehicle. So this is known as motion sickness, and it can be prevented by taking antiemetic drugs. Then seasickness, that means when a person is traveling in a ship or a boat because of continuous movement of the water, there is excessive stimulation of the labyrinth resulting into nausea, vomiting and headache. That is known as seasickness. Then Meniere's disease, it was discussed last time also. Meniere's disease, it is characterized by tinnitus, vertigo, nausea and vomiting. Also by the fluctuating deafness of the sensory neural type of deafness is also experienced, and this is because of the over distension of the membranous labyrinth, and it is because of the hypersecretion, increased secretion of the endolymphatic fluid. Now various tests are performed for testing the integrity of the vestibular apparatus. These are two tests which I am explaining it to you. One is the caloric test and another is Barney's chair test or rotatory test. In caloric test, what is done? Warm and cold water is injected into the external auditory canal, and it rises the temperature of the internal ear 7 degrees above and below, as a result of which when with the help of syringe you have to inject the fluid, and when you inject the fluid, nystagmus is seen. What is the direction of nystagmus? When you irrigate the external auditory canal with the cold water, then nystagmus, direction of nystagmus will be in opposite direction, and when you irrigate the external auditory canal with the warm water, then direction of nystagmus will be in the same direction. So that is, you can learn it by the mnemonic COWS. COWS means cold, direction of nystagmus will be in opposite direction, and with warm it will be in the same direction. And with Barney's chair test, a person is made to sit on the chair and it is rotated, and then you can see the direction of nystagmus and you can do the diagnosis. So these are the two vestibular function tests which are performed routinely. One is the caloric test and second is the rotatory chair test. Now this is the diagram which is showing the procedure of caloric test. With the help of syringe, warm and cold water is injected into the external auditory canal. So thank you. This was all about vestibular apparatus.